yes, yes, yes. All right, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. We're going to wait a couple moments for folks to join us. We're so excited to have you all with us for this journey to healing conversation. So please come on in. We want you to like, comment, and share. Um, and we are streaming from three different platforms tonight, or three different spaces. We're on Refreshed and Revealed. We are on Free Your Mind Enterprises, and we are on the Refreshed Revealed YouTube page. So streaming from three different locations. So please come on in and like and share and comment as we have this amazing conversation for this evening. So we'll wait a couple more minutes to get started as we have some more people coming into the space with us. So, yeah. Okay. Alrighty. So, Amanda, as more people are coming in, I'm going to just start off. Typically, whenever I start off broadcasts, I always create the opportunity and space for folks to check in. So, how are you doing? How are things going? What's happening with you right now?
Yeah. Well, I'm super anxious about international travel. I'll be traveling on Thursday to Jamaica. And prior to booking the trip, I was super excited, right? Because getting out of here and having a good time, beach time, things like that. But all of the requirements and the guidelines for CDC to get into a country right now is difficult. So it's not for the faint of heart. If you are not determined to travel, then international travel is not it right now. Stay in the States.
Well, that is good. I'm happy that you are getting across our borders, and I'm sure you will have an amazing time. So how long will you be traveling abroad?
I will be gone from Thursday, the 29th to August 3rd. I think that's Tuesday. So,
Okay. Look at you.
Little time away.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. I love it. That's great. I actually have a couple of vacation days myself coming up at the end of the week. I'm going to Virginia to visit my sister. So I'm excited about that and just taking some time away. You know, we all have to refresh and keep ourselves together. And yeah, so great stuff. Great stuff.
I love Virginia. Just once, but I loved it when I was there.
Okay. Yes, you should go back. It's a very nice state, nice place to travel. You know, get some good crab. You like crab? Crab dip and everything?
Can't get any pressure, huh?
Not at all. Not at all. Well, awesome. But we're glad that you're going to have some time and doing well. So everyone that's joining us tonight, our topic for this evening is Journey to Healing. And I'm so excited about this particular topic because all of us have experienced a number of things in our lives, whether we've gone through just various traumatic situations, maybe we've gone through things in our childhood, maybe have gone through things in our young adult or adult times in our life where the impact or something occurred that impacted our could it impact us spiritually, financially, emotionally, physically, like all different aspects of who we are. And so one of the things that I realized and recognize is that in order for us to move forward in life, we have to allow ourselves to heal. And healing can be difficult because sometimes we think that healing is an overnight process when actually healing is a journey. And so there are moments and times where you'll have ups and downs and pitfalls, but at the end of the day, the healing is the most important part of the process in order for you to move forward. So once again, we want to encourage you to like, to share this broadcast, and just be a part of this conversation with Amanda and I. So Amanda, before we get started, I wanted you to have the moment to kind of introduce yourself. Like, who are you? Tell our viewers tonight a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I'm Amanda Williams. I am a daughter, a cousin, a friend. And I work with City Colleges of Chicago as a college advisor, which I'm very passionate about. I love helping people overcome obstacles that when I was in college, I was totally unaware of, but helping people through the process of their academic career and achieving their goals is one of my passions. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. I am aspiring at some point to become a YouTube creator. I started a YouTube channel and I was cooking food, but honestly, I might take a different direction with that. But I have a lot of little things that I like to do. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. I like to get my hands into different crafts and things of that nature. I'm pretty creative. My friends will kill me if I don't say that I do graphic design and create flyers and banners and things of that nature. So personalized party items. So I do a lot of different things to stay busy for the most part.
Awesome, awesome. Definitely, I have had the opportunity to experience the creativity at the hands of Amanda Williams through some statewide initiatives and locally at our place of employment. So definitely, she is amazing. So if you do need a flyer, some sort of something created, Amanda is your woman. And so we'll be able to, at the end of this broadcast and time, we'll share her email address so that you can reach out to her and learn more about the things that she can use her gifts and talents to share with you. So to jump into our conversation for tonight, our first kind of question, or I'll say statement for you, Amanda, is please describe for us the area of healing that you will be sharing with us tonight.
Absolutely. I am happy to share my story about my healing journey. I've shared with Dr. Craw that I haven't experienced the miraculous healing that a lot of us as Christians are looking for when we pray to God and ask for healing in our bodies when we're dealing with an ailment. However, I have gone through a very long journey as it relates to my relationship with God and trusting and believing in God, and in my process, just enduring with the physical ailments that I have as well. So I'll be highlighting my journey more so than the healing aspect and what that has looked like for me over the past, honestly, 12 years since I've been dealing with my current issue.
Okay, great. I definitely, one of the things to your point that some people may sometimes think and believe is that the way in which God may choose to heal them is going to be overnight. I mean, we may read different stories in the Bible. We may actually have experienced people in our lives that have had that instantaneous healing, but sometimes healing is literally a journey. There's steps, there's processes, there's things that you gain, concepts that you learn, ideas that come up out of that space. And so share with us a little bit. I'm going to start off kind of a little bit to what you said about you haven't yet experienced that miraculous healing, but talk to us a little bit about your journey and as it relates to some barriers, setbacks that you have had to overcome personally and professionally while on your journey.
Sure. So I am 34 years old, and I almost said 32. Jesus, I'm losing years over here. I am 34 years old, and I was diagnosed with a condition called rheumatoid arthritis when I was in my early 20s, so approximately 12 years. I've been experiencing chronic pain. Rheumatoid arthritis is a condition where you have degenerated joints. Your body assumes, or your immune system assumes for whatever reason, that your joints are not supposed to be there. Just like a virus, just like a bacteria, your immune system attacks those healthy joint tissues, which causes a lot of inflammation and pain. So over the course of my journey, I've experienced degenerated joints. So I have fused wrists, so I can't flex my wrist. I have a degenerated elbow. I experience pain in my ankles, so it has been difficult at some points to walk, and down to the point of needing a total hip replacement in January of 2019. So my entire journey with this has even resulted in a joint being replaced because of the intensity of the condition. So mainly the barriers that I've experienced because of the condition is being unable to be mobile. Normally, when you see a 34-year-old, you're like, oh, she's supposed to be able to go on trips and take long walks in the park, or just those typical functions that you would normally take for granted. But I have learned that everything that we have is a gift, is a blessing, and even down to the ability to walk, to be able to brush your teeth in the morning. Those are gifts that God give us on a daily basis. And my healing journey has taught me to take nothing for granted. So other barriers that I've experienced because of this condition and with my age is the way that people tend to look at me or approach me. I've noticed that when you don't look like someone who should have a disability, people often ask questions to, I guess, cure their own curiosity, if you will. So they'll say, "What's wrong with you? Why are you walking like that? What happened to you?" Someone even asked me at one point, because the condition had gotten so bad, "Did you just get hit by a car?" And I was like, I must look like I'm in really bad shape if someone thought that I just recently got hit by a car. But overcoming these barriers have required me to really trust and lean on God for understanding as to why He has trusted me to handle such a condition. We all understand that God will not put more on you than you can bear. And at some points, I'm like, I can't bear this. I'm not sure why I have been the vessel to be trusted with such a task or a trial, if you will. But over my healing journey, I realized that there's something special about me. Obviously, that God felt that He could trust me with this condition, even if I didn't believe that I had what it took to handle the condition.
Wow. Okay. So, as I told you in preparation of this time, this evening, that as you say different things, that I may veer off. I'll bring us back, because one thing I love about Amanda is, like, she's like, she'll tell you, say, Dr. Kroll, we had some questions we were going to go over and you didn't veer. I'm going to veer because there were tons of nuggets of what you shared in your journey. So I'm going to take one question. I'm going to give you a one question first, and then I'm going to give you the other one, but separate. So you said that at the age of 34, you had to have your hip surgery, and you said that you've been going through this journey for 12 years. So in your early age of like 22 is when you were diagnosed. So how was college for you, being diagnosed with this particular disease?
College, honestly, my whole early 20s, it was a masquerade, if you will. Pretending that I was not in pain and going out, hanging out with friends, or just trying to do daily activities that my friends could do naturally without thinking about it. That was definitely a challenge in itself. I could say that I had a slower paced life at that age, just because of dealing with the pain that I wasn't really sure what to expect. And I was learning how to handle the condition and learning to pace myself. And when I was in my 20s, I would go to Great America and come back home, and I wouldn't be functional for another day or two. And those are just things that I didn't think I would have to think about. But because of my condition, I had to kind of shift my mindset and learn how to listen to myself and listen to my body, and be more kind to myself, because I think I was being harder on myself because I couldn't do things that other people could do. But showing myself grace and showing myself kindness was something that I had to learn to do very early on in this condition.
Yes, and that's amazing. I mean, I just think about back to my college times, and I wasn't necessarily a wild child in college, but I just think about the college I attended, all the hills of the college, like literally steep hills, and walking around from class to class and not having to give much thought or consideration regarding, are my joints going to not be operational? Is my hip going to hurt? All these different things. So just imagining, as a college student, your friends are out and about doing things, and you're just like, well, did you have to second guess, or were there things that you were unable to, maybe get involved in or do that you wanted to do because of your condition?
I think me being the type of person that I am, I'm very determined, and I typically don't take no for an answer. So there are a lot of things that might have been too challenging, but I took on the challenge anyway because I wanted to prove to myself that I could do certain things. My best friend, Sarah, and I, we sung in a group together. And at times I wanted to quit because it was just a difficult process standing for a long time and being at concerts all night. So it was a challenge. But when we sing, she's very active. She moves a lot, and she would bump my wrist, and I would be in crucial pain on stage trying to sing. And this is in front of an audience of people. So I have to play it off and make sure that I'm not projecting that, I'm uncomfortable while singing praise and worship, if you will. And it's like you're in an environment praising God, but you're in pain at the same time, and having to push through that. And I think it was really more so my relationship with God at that point that pushed me to continue to sing. But we've talked before about my relationship with God and how it had transpired into a different space. But I feel like we can probably answer that in a future question. But that's just to say, like, I was still pushing, I was still serving, I was still worshiping through pain. And it was just because I wanted to prove to myself that I could.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And actually, I'm going to tie my second question I said I was going to ask you specifically with this question about what have been some lessons you've learned on this journey. And there was something, if you can, rope in a little bit, how you had spoke about God trusting you with this particular condition, because that is something that people, just kind of us being human beings in life, we want for everything to kind of be okay, for things to go well. We don't want to have any sort of ailments, especially at a young age. And it's like, and we kind of get in the victim mentality of this has happened to me, God allowed this to happen, and this was done to me, versus embracing the notion that you were entrusted with this. So if you can kind of, answer how you were initially going to answer, but if you can also tie that part in, that would be great.
For sure. So, to answer what lessons did I learn throughout this journey, I feel as though it's easy to go into a particular life situation and say, why me? And I always wonder, like, what did I do to deserve this treatment? Why am I being punished? I've never hurt anybody. I've only done things to help people. And honestly, the onset of my condition happened while I was serving in the capacity of preparing for a Thanksgiving dinner for the homeless. So in my mind, I'm like, I was doing something for God. I hurt myself. And from that point on, now I'm being punished. And the lesson that I learned from that was that I wasn't being punished. I'm no different than the next person in the world who is experiencing other life obligations, other life trials, tribulations. I'm not unique in that aspect. So what would exclude me from experiencing something like this condition? And it's more so that I feel like God trusted me because he knew, like, even if he allowed this to happen, allowed me to experience this, that I wouldn't deviate from our relationship. Now, I felt like I proved him wrong for a very short period of time because I had been prayed for, holy oil all over my body, people fasting for me fasting for myself, and I still could not find the healing that I was looking for. So it wasn't more about like, how do you get out of this situation, but how do you deal with the situation that you're in is what I learned to come to terms with. So what lessons can I learn from being in pain on a daily basis? Like I said before, listening to yourself, listening to your body when it's telling you to slow down. That's not only for someone who's experiencing chronic pain, but someone who's always on the go and they're serving their family and they're serving at work and they're serving at church. You have to listen to yourself. You have to listen to your body and when it's telling you to slow down or to drink water or to eat healthy food like that. Those are lessons that I learned by having this condition. Another lesson that I learned is that you have to be patient with yourself and you have to be patient with others who are experiencing your journey with you. I often get frustrated before, as I am learning to be better at this. You often want to respond negatively to people who are asking you questions, or they're inquiring about like what you're dealing with. And it's like, well, why are you asking me this? If I were healthy, quote unquote, you wouldn't ask me this. What gives you the entitlement to ask me questions about my condition? I've learned that people are asking questions because maybe they have some information to offer. Maybe they know someone who's also going through the same thing that I'm going through, and they just want to figure out how can I help the person or loved one who is going through whatever it is. It looks similar, or is picturing or mirroring what my mom is going through. Maybe you can help me help her. So just learning that people aren't approaching you to be malice or trying to insult you. They might really just be trying to figure out how they can help you, or how you can help them help themselves or someone else that they love.
Wow, those are so powerful. You are so wise. No, seriously. I mean, I think that, being 34 and then once again going through your 20s with this particular condition, and this is the revelation you were able to get from that experience. I mean, not all of us would have taken it. I'm sure that there were moments and times where you may have maintained your pouty mode and you was like, I'm not even on this. I'm not trying. Okay. Yeah, I'll pray today. Maybe not, because the pain and what you were dealing with probably overtook you more than maybe what your faith at that moment felt like it wasn't, as strong. So no, that is so powerful. That is so good. I love these points. So once again, if you're joining us this evening, just joined us for Journey to Healing. We are with an amazing, dynamic, awesome woman, Amanda Williams, sharing her journey and overcoming a physical condition, and just how this journey has taught her various lessons and what she has been able to gain to not only help herself and help others. So when you were talking about God trusting you with this condition, that is so, it makes me think honestly of Job, the story of Job.
Absolutely. That's the story I go to most times. You need to understand what I'm going through. Let's talk about Job.
Yes. So I mean, through that lens, what if you could think back, when did you first maybe read the story of Job and connect that with your life and what you were going through specifically?
Well, that's a popular story. It's always preached on. So from being raised in church and being an adult in church, like you always hear the story, but it's not relevant to you until you're experiencing something very similar. So I would say it was closer to my late 20s where I kind of made the connection that just like God trusted Job, he trusted me with dealing with rheumatoid arthritis. Not to the extent of losing loved ones and losing his fame and fortune and things of that nature. However, my equivalent was losing like potential friendships or life experiences that others were having. So I had to sacrifice those things in order to be given other blessings later on in life. So I feel like in my later 20s, I got the revelation. Definitely didn't have it in my early 20s because, like we mentioned, I was in the pouty mode. I was in the why me mode. But it took time for me to arrive to a place where God wasn't mad at me, but he trusted me.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's even powerful in the context of all the things that he probably, I don't say probably, all the things that you were protected from, because there were certain experiences that you probably wanted to have, but couldn't have because of the condition. And that was actually his hedge of protection around you. Like, okay, I'm going to protect, my daughter's going to be protected because she can't go out here and be, a little bit much out here in the street.
They the things like, if God knew not to give me a flat stomach, because he gave me a flat stomach, like that.
Sure, my rose just kept. I'm like, God, how can I get my flat stomach? He's like, girl, you would have no clothes.
Wouldn't know how
to act.
So that could definitely be a component.
Yes, absolutely, and I think that is so important because it's very easy to not realize that God, as much as God is calling for us to trust him, and he has positioned us and said that we are, his children and all of that stuff. That's so important. That also knowing that God trusts us, like we trust him, he trusts us. Like that's the whole notion of a parent child relationship. And many times, and sometimes that's where we don't always see God as our father, which is another story. We're going to have to bring you back. So I'm telling you in advance, we bring you back for another conversation. So you're going to be ready. So just let you know, get your mind right. Amanda, because you're coming back on here. So awesome. My next question for you is, what resources have you used, if any, to help advance your healing process?
So more so on the like medical treatment side, I think that we often, especially people of color, we have our hesitations with Western medicine and not trusting doctors. However, I feel like had I trusted my doctor at the onset of my condition, I would probably be in a different space. So just trusting your doctors, but also having the autonomy to kind of do your own research and understand medicines and things of that nature to help your process along. God made doctors for a reason, right? He blessed these people with their beautiful brains to process things that I could begin to fathom understanding. So obviously there are people here designed to help us through a process of taking Western medicine, but also understanding the resources that God gives us on earth, and that's natural resources. So doing research as it relates to anti-inflammatory agents, changing my diet, understanding what makes me have more pain, what alleviates pain, and not only trusting in Western medicine, but using what God has put on earth to kind of supplement and aid me in experiencing less pain. Reading books, of course, lots of articles, books on natural treatment of how to decrease my pain experience and things of that nature. But outside of that, of course, prayer, fasting. My friends are the biggest support. My mom is the biggest support. My dad is the biggest support as it relates to the spiritual aspect of me handling this condition. Only because I have my very logical mind. God designed me that way, and I know that he knows that about me. But there are people in my life that have brought me back to the spiritual way of guiding me to healing or through my journey of healing. So those are resources that I've used for my healing process.
Awesome. I love that, because I think that sometimes, being someone that, was raised in the church and everything, it could be, you can kind of have those people be like, just take it to the altar. That's all you need to do. And it's like, okay, I think God gave us some common sense. Like, absolutely have faith, pray, seek God, know that he can heal, know that he can deliver. And then also he's like, it makes me think of that story about the, I love telling this story. Sometimes I mess it up, about the guy who was stranded in the ocean. And he was like, God, please send me, help me, God, help me. A tugboat came by. He said, no, I'm waiting for God. An ocean liner came by. No, I'm waiting for God. A rowboat came by. No, I'm waiting for God. He dies and goes to heaven. He asks God, why didn't you help me? He said, I sent a tugboat, a steam liner, and a rowboat.
What more could you want?
Right. I sent you 3 things, but we're sometimes looking for it to come in a certain direction, which that's the one thing about us truly having faith in seeking God and knowing that there may be different resources and ways that he may bring into our life path to help us. So that's absolutely great points that you have shared. And so my next question for you is, why do you think the healing process is so hard for people to begin in any area?
I think we have in our mind what healing looks like or what we want it to be. It could be an issue of instant gratification and that not being fulfilled. And that's the obstacle that most people face when they're starting their healing journey. Just not being open-minded to what that healing could look like. I think for me also, getting over the ego part of it it's not about like how I look to people, or presenting myself so that I'm accepted or people don't think less of me or that I'm incapable. So really narrowing down like what are you dealing with and making sure that it's not external factors that are causing you to behave in a certain way. Just looking within yourself and just being whole and I guess I would say it just that, like that, being whole within yourself and knowing that you're still capable, you're still lovable, you're worthy of being loved by others, and just really settling in that. And I think that that's a challenge for most. Like, I'm not worthy. I'm no longer whole. So no one, especially in the dating aspect, a lot of us in our 30s who are single, we don't need help thinking that we're not worthy, right? And I'm single now, and I dealt with that on my own in my 20s. Like, no one's gonna love me, no one's gonna want to marry me because of my condition. And honestly, it has led me to learn how to love myself first, to live to the truth of my name, because my name Amanda means worthy to be loved. And I was named that for a reason. My mom, she said that she named me after a character on a soap opera or a TV show, but God destined her to name me Amanda to remind me whenever someone says my name that I am worthy to be loved, even while I'm dealing with a condition that others may not have to deal with.
Wow. Snap, snap, snap. I love that. That is
Don't hype me up. Don't hype me up.
No, I love that because that's so important that sometimes that healing, it's like if we get in our own way, right? We get into our own minds and we halt the process of healing from even beginning because we think it's like we allow the external things, to come into the view, what people are going to say. It's like it's almost like we have full-fledged conversations in our mind and we're the only person we didn't talk to. And that can stop us from moving forward and really stepping into what it is that we're supposed to step into and what it is that we are called to step into, because we're allowing the healing process to not get started. And the healing process, allowing yourself to step into that healing process, could actually be the very thing that takes you to that next. That could be the very reason. Like, what if your husband is actually the next doctor that you're supposed to go see, but you've been rejecting from going to see it. Hello, come through, doctor, come through. Okay, so you just never know what blessing is on the side when you take that first step towards healing. So, my next question for you: if you could go back and speak to you at the age of 22, what would you tell her about the path ahead of her?
I would tell my 22-year-old self that this journey is going to be difficult. Nothing about it is going to be pleasurable, and that it's absolutely mandatory that I keep my faith in God through the process. Because those components after the fact have helped me to hold on to my belief that my healing is on the way. But I feel like had I been in that state of mind earlier, it's possible that my progression would be different. Not better, but different. So keeping the faith is definitely the most important thing, because I felt like I lost my footing, I lost ground in my journey by disconnecting from God, being mad at God because he didn't do it the way that I saw fit. And I wasted time. I wasted time doing that, and disconnected from God was not the aspect that I think he expected of me. But me coming back to him was more the reward for me being able to say, I trust God for real. Like, I went to a point where I wanted to be an atheist, but now here I am still believing that God exists, that he sees me as worthy, that I am fit. And that he still, I can believe in him and he believes in me, if I could say that. Yeah.
Wow. So if excuse me. How did you, once again, deviating, cause I'm able to do that because I'm not. Um, so what, if you don't mind sharing, what was it that kind of made you do that 180 and say, okay, I'm veering off the path. You said you're about to be an atheist. You're about to say, I don't have time for this. Like, what was it that made you say, I can't walk away from what I know to be true. I can't walk away from God. I have to pivot. Like, what was that moment or that situation that happened that caused you to redirect?
Well, the most important thing was my support system, allowing me to live in that space, have my own thought process, and reminding me that, you're having this thought process, but God is still here. So without my support system, I think it would have been very difficult for me to make that journey back to God on my own. So God places people in your life for a very special reason. We probably try to figure out what's the season or the person, or what is the season of this person, or what's the reason why I'm connected to this person. And sometimes we need to take a step back from that, because God wouldn't allow connections to happen for your defeat. Like, they're there for a reason, whether you're learning a lesson or they're there to support you. So without my support system, I don't think I would have made it back to God. When I did, I probably would still be venturing out on different, religions and seeing what those were about. However, that was one of the things. Another thing was that I felt empty. I'll be honest. When I disconnected from God, trying to figure out what else was out there, there was just something about not being connected to God that made me feel like I wasn't whole. So that nagging feeling that I was missing something, I listened to it, and I decided to take an invitation from a friend to come to their church. And I was like, I know I'm not going to really go back to this church. And I ended up joining that church, some years later. I visited for a very long time, very long time. But I was starting to get messages that were designed specifically for me, like, better. Like, come on back, really back in. You had your time to think about it. And you had your time to disconnect, but the truth. And honestly, those are the components that kept me, grounded, or at least brought me back to become grounded.
That's so good. I'm going to do one more deviation question before I ask my next and final question of you. What words of advice would you give someone who is on the support end of someone that may be facing the condition of rheumatoid arthritis or any sort of physical healing journey? Like, what would you tell those supporters? Because you had drawn out some things that I thought was very important, but I would rather you indicate from your lens, what do you think is necessary for those support people?
Of course, patience is definitely the key component when you're supporting someone dealing with a physical ailment. And you have to take into perspective that what is easy for you may not be easy for the next person who's dealing with that condition. So let's say you're friends with someone and they have this ailment and you want to go out to the lakefront and walk around. You have to be patient when that person says, oh, no, I'm not really up to it. And they may not vocalize why. They may not want to bring attention to, well, I'm in a lot of pain. I don't really feel like it. I'm fatigued. And they just don't have the words to articulate that. So when you sense that your friend is retracting or withdrawing, it's not because they don't want to be around you, they don't want to be bothered. It's more so they're dealing with something that they don't want to burden others with. So patience is definitely required in the matter to understand, like, okay, you're not just blowing me off, you're dealing with something. So just being mindful of that and helping them with that process. Maybe thinking of alternative ways to spend time with them. Like, okay, you don't want to go out walking. Maybe we could have a movie night. Maybe we could go to the restaurant, whatever is a little bit more feasible for that person. Another component that is really helpful of the support system is prayer. especially when you're tired of praying for yourself, when you have other people who are praying for you, they kind of stand in the gap for you. When you just don't have the energy or mindset to say, I'm not asking God again to heal me. We need the support system to continue that prayer, because it's powerful and it does work. Even if it's as minor as helping someone go to work that day, your prayer could have been the motivator for that person. You say, you know what, I'm just going to get up and I'm going to go to work. But otherwise, without their prayer, they would have stayed in the bed and not been motivated to do anything. So those prayers, although you may not be experiencing that miraculous healing that we spoke of earlier, those prayers are helping with those smaller components of life that we have to overcome on a daily basis. So prayer, patience. I want to find another P, make it a theme, right? But I can't think of one on the spot. But those are two very important things that a village can provide for someone dealing with an ailment.
Awesome, 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 Amanda. That was so great, so great. So my final question for you this evening is, please share any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you would want others who may be facing similar journeys to know.
Don't give up. And it's very true that God won't put more on you than you can bear. But when you come to a point where you feel like you can't handle your condition, you can't handle your life situation, seek within yourself the strength to push forward. And it sounds hard to do because you feel like you might be tapped out in that moment, but God has invested in you that strength that you need to push forward. You just have to tap into it. So when you're down and out and you don't feel like you can move forward, just know that there's this vessel of energy, there's this vessel of strength within you. You just have to tap into it. How to tap into that is different for everybody. Some people say meditation and prayer will help with that. Others say fasting will help with tapping into that inner strength. Whatever method or vehicle that you need to tap into your inner strength, do that because it's there. Also, be vocal, especially if you're seeking medical treatment. Be vocal about your medical treatment. You know within your body if you're experiencing a side effect, you know if something's working, if it's not working. And I think oftentimes when we go in to see the doctor, they tell you what to do and you do it and you continue to do it without being vocal. And that could be more harmful than helpful. So being mindful of doing your own research, again, listening to your body, understanding what's good for yourself, because what's good for you may not be good for the next person. So understanding your chemical makeup in your body is important. So that way you're receiving the proper treatment and to avoid any like adverse side effects. And I think that's what has helped me, just listening to my body. And not allowing any particular side effect to last too long, because that's how we end up with other conditions and other problems. So to avoid those, listen to yourself. And also don't be afraid to tell the doctor, like, I don't want to take that anymore. I want to try something else. I've done my own research. And if you need to fire your doctor, fire them and find another one, because there are doctors out there who genuinely care about you and want to make sure that you're experiencing positive results in your treatment. And lastly, just stay faithful. Stay faithful. Keep believing in God. Be okay with being angry at some point. Validate your feelings. You know, if you're mad, be mad. If you're upset, if you're depressed, if you're sad, feel those feelings. But remember that you have to come back to a space where God has trusted you with this condition, with this life situation, and that you have what it takes to endure. So tap into that.
Yes, Amanda, I love it. That was so good. I don't know if you can see the chat on the side, all the comments and thoughts that folks are putting in, and I have to echo their sentiments of everything that you said has been powerful. I know that many of us are going through various journeys of healing in our life. It may not be a physical situation as you've been through, but I think all of the things that you've said are applicable. Of being patient with yourself and, taking the time to be mad. I think sometimes that is the difficulty that some of us have. I know I've experienced where I just was like, I can't be mad because if I'm mad, then that means I don't have faith. No, authentically, like be your authentic. God already knows you're mad, so be mad. Get that out, because that to me will impact your healing. Because if you're carrying that mental stress and anxiety on top of the physical pain, all of those from a scientific perspective, all of those kind of stress and pain release different chemicals and things in your body. And so when you have that mental ailment, you added that mental depression and all of that on you because you're bottling stuff up, that does things to your muscles, creates other pain. And it's just like, release that so that you can really start your process of healing and everything. So thank you, Amanda. That was so exciting and powerful. I'm so honored that you have joined this platform with me tonight. And so how can, if folks are interested in connecting with you or wanting to hear more about your journey or hear you sing, because you said that you can sing, I would be real wrong. I would be real wrong if I asked you to sing on this platform right now. I won't do it to you. I won't.
I get the stage fright of the most stage fright, the epitome of stage fright. I have it.
Because you said that God trusted you with that. So
he don't trust me with my voice, because I told him I don't trust myself with my voice. But my friends tell me all the time, stop saying that I'm retired from singing. God's going to take away my gift, and I don't want him to do that. So I definitely will refer you guys to some YouTube videos.
So look, we got people on here saying, sing. I want you to sing.
Those are the people that I sing with. Nope, I see them doing it.
But how can people get connected with you, Amanda?
I'm more than happy to connect with people via email. All things love joy at gmail.com. I'm happy to answer questions. If you have more personal questions about my journey, if you need a flyer, I'm here to connect you with either myself or someone else who could do the job. So, that's the best way to get in contact with me.
Awesome. And I have one more person. It seems like you have a fan out here that just says sing a line.
No. Nope.
She's rejecting the sing for us, y'all. But I'm going to.
That's the friend who she likes to get her groove on while we singing.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, friend. I'm happy that we're going to push her from both sides. We're going to have a time where we can bring you back, Amanda, and we can hear your beautiful voice continuously. She's saying, please. No. I already pressured her to come on here tonight, so I won't pressure you anymore. But thank you so much, Amanda, for joining and sharing your story with us. I know that it helped many, many people. And I hope that you continue to share your story, because there are more people that are waiting for you to use your voice to share your journey. And so thank you so much for trusting me to provide this space for you to share your healing journey.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So as folks are on a follower of my different pages, we will also have another session on Journey to Healing this coming Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And our special guest that evening will be Ms. Zakia Brown. And also tomorrow morning, if you are up and awoke at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, we will have Refreshed Bible Study on the Refreshed and Revealed Facebook page, as well as on YouTube, Refreshed Revealed. So thank you so much for joining this evening, and we look forward to having you again next time.